Have you ever cracked open a classic work of philosophy and just felt your eyes glaze over? We've all been there. Well, today we're handing you the keys to the kingdom. This isn't just a list of tips. It's the actual method we use here at Talk Treatises to build our explainers, and we're going to share the whole thing with you. You know the feeling. You pick up Plato or maybe Adam Smith, and it just feels dense, impossible. Or even worse, you read a quick summary online, and you just know you're not getting the full story, that you're missing out on the real magic. It's a huge frustration, right? It feels like the world's most brilliant insights are locked up somewhere just out of reach. Well, today we are giving you the tools to smash that ivory tower. I want you to start thinking of yourself as an idea archaeologist. We're going to give you a 5-step toolkit to help you excavate the incredible treasures hidden inside any great work. We'll cover everything from its origins all the way to stress testing it against today's biggest problems. All right, let's start with that big problem itself, how a massive breakthrough shrinks down into a tiny bumper sticker. Take a phrase like, "I think, therefore I am." We all know it, but do we really get the incredible, profound journey of radical doubt that Descartes had to go on to land on that one single solid conclusion? Our mission today is to get past that bumper sticker and dig up the original breakthrough.
Because here's the secret. The real genius is never in the catchy one-liner. It's buried in the details, the nuances, the often radical arguments that get totally lost in translation. That's the treasure we're here to find.
So, where does an idea archaeologist begin the dig? Well, first things first, you have to set the stage. No great idea ever just pops out of a vacuum. To really feel its power, you've got to understand the world it was born into. See, every great work is really part of a conversation. Before the groundbreaking ideas showed up, there was a prevailing view, the conventional wisdom of the day. Then the new work hits like an earthquake. It shatters that old view and kicks off a whole new debate. You just can't appreciate the force of that earthquake unless you know what the ground looked like before it shook. So, your first mission as an idea archaeologist is to figure out this context. You have to ask yourself, what was the one burning question the author was desperately trying to answer? For someone like Descartes, it was, what can I possibly know for sure if my only senses can lie to me? Every great work is an answer to a question like that. Your job is to find it. Okay, the stage is set. We know the world the idea was born into. Now it's time to get our hands dirty and examine the core of the idea itself. We're going to pop the hood and really see how the engine of the argument works. And this is where you really see that gap. On one side, you've got the simple bumper sticker version, "I think, therefore I am," but on the other, wow, you have the rich, complex reality of the argument, a whole method of systematic doubt, a mind-bending thought experiment about an evil deceiver, all leading to the one single truth that couldn't be doubted. Our job is to build a bridge across that gap. So how do we do it? How do we build that bridge? It's really a simple 3-step process. First, you just identify the premises, the basic assumptions they start with. Second, you follow their logical steps, almost like you're following a trail of breadcrumbs, watching how they build their case. And finally, you can state the conclusion, but in your own words. It's like you're a detective, but for logic. And while you're doing that detective work, keep an eye out for the key innovations. A truly revolutionary thinker often has to invent new tools to get their point across. New words, totally new concepts, new ways of arguing. Spotting these is like finding the unique fingerprints of their genius. But an idea's journey doesn't just stop when the book is printed. Oh no. In fact, that's usually just the beginning. The next phase of our dig is to trace its ripple effect. We want to see how it changed the world, and just as important, how the world pushed back. Now, this is absolutely crucial. You have to look at the critics. Don't be afraid of the arguments against the idea. In fact, lean into them. Those objections from other brilliant minds are what sharpen our own understanding and show us just how massive the conversation really was that this one work kicked off. And then you start to see it. You discover the legacy. As a quote like this shows, a single idea can set the entire agenda for generations to come. Descartes didn't just give us an answer. He completely changed the question from what is true to what can I be certain of. That work becomes the foundation, or sometimes the target, for everyone who comes after. And what's really fascinating is that influence isn't always a straight line. Some works are immediate bestsellers, but others, they might be ignored or even banned, only to be rediscovered hundreds of years later when the world is finally ready for them. Understanding that whole journey is part of understanding the idea's real story.
Okay, we've done the digging, we've traced the history. Now it's time for the final, and I think the most powerful step of all. Once you really understand an idea, it's time to truly master it. It's time for the philosophical stress test. That's right. It is not enough to just nod along and explain an idea. We have to actively engage with it. This is the moment we stop being just students of philosophy and actually become participants in the debate. We are going to push this idea, test its boundaries, and see just how tough it really is. And the absolute best tool for this is the thought experiment. Here's how it works. You take a core idea, like utilitarianism, the greatest good for the greatest number, and then you throw it into an extreme modern scenario. Think about programming a self-driving car that has to choose what to do in an unavoidable accident. Does the old idea still hold up, or does it expose a crazy complication the original author never could have dreamed of? This is how you make the idea your own. So there it is, from context to conclusion to influence to the stress test. That is the complete toolkit for becoming an idea archaeologist. With this framework, I promise you, no idea is too big or too complex to tackle. The only question left is, what great idea are you going to unlock next?
And just a quick reminder, this explainer is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Thanks so much for joining us, and happy deconstructing.